What's up YouTube, just wanted to make a quick video comparing two Ironheart M1 deck jackets. I've got the 12 ounce whipcord lightweight M1 deck jacket in black, which is the IHM 48 BLK, and I've also got the oiled whipcord M1 deck jacket, also in black, which is the IHM 37 BLK. Now these are two fairly different deck jackets, and I just wanted to make a comparison if you're in the market for one of these jackets and are unsure of which one is most suitable for you. So I'm going to go over the differences between the two jackets to try and help you make the right decision, unless of course you want to get both like I did. So to start with, here you can see a bit of a difference between the two in terms of the structure and the weight of the jackets. And these are both made using the 12 ounce whipcord from Ironheart. However, the oiled version, the oiling process adds an extra 2 ounces of weight. The other difference is obviously the lining, being the alpaca lining in the regular M1, adds a lot more heft and weight and bulk to the jacket in comparison to the lightweight version. So to start off, there is a pretty significant price difference between the two jackets. The lightweight is £498 and the oiled regular M1 is £742. So the lightweight version doesn't have the heavy wool alpaca insulation and the quilted sleeves. Instead it has a much lighter cotton lining, which really slims the jacket down and does make it slightly more breathable. But for how lightweight the jacket is, it is still really warm and is wind resistant as well, which is a great plus. As you can see around the collar and the cuffs, the storm cuffs and the alpaca lining have both been replaced with corduroy on the lightweight, whereas the regular M1 has the alpaca lining running all the way up to the edge of the collar with the storm cuffs at the end of the sleeves, which do a good job of keeping you nice and warm. One of the only things I do find a little annoying with the regular M1 is the storm cuffs feel like they go a little far up my forearm, and they also put a lot of pressure on where my watch is. If you're wearing any other long sleeved jumper or shirt, you will feel that pressure mounting even more around a watch or a bracelet. Just running over some other key differences, the lightweight M1 has the D pockets, whereas the oiled M1 has slip pockets. The non-oiled regular M1s, however, retain the D pockets. Another key difference is the zip. Both have a two-way zipper, with the lightweight jacket having a much smaller regular sort of sized zip, whereas the regular M1 has a much bulkier zip to go with the extra bulky jacket. Now another difference is the pockets. The regular M1 has alpaca lining in the pockets, which adds to the bulk of the jacket, whereas the lightweight M1 deck jacket just has more of that corduroy, keeping it a more slim profile jacket all round. Both do, however, have button closures, and they both have an internal pocket as well, again with a little button snap closure. The lightweight M1 also doesn't have a throat latch, so you cannot button that collar up, whereas the regular M1 does come with a latch around the throat. As I said, both these jackets are both pretty warm. The regular M1, however, is significantly warmer, and you'll feel it as soon as you put the jacket on. The lightweight, however, feels fairly roomy. I got mine in a large, and I'm 6'2", I weigh roughly 84 kilos, and I wear a 42 chest as well. The only thing I have to say about the lightweight is when it's zipped up, I really feel a little bit of pressure on the top of my shoulders, either side, just here on both sides of the jacket. However, when it's not zipped, I don't really feel it, and after 30 seconds of having the jacket on, it does feel fine. As you can see, there is a fair amount of room in the jacket still, so it's not like it's tight across the chest, it's just really those shoulders that are a little tight. But as I say, I don't really notice it after roughly 30 seconds anyway, so it's not really that big of a deal. So this is the regular M1, also in a large, and I don't have any issues with the shoulders or any sort of tightness anywhere in the jacket. However, because it is quite a bulky jacket, when you're doing things like trying to reach around to put a seatbelt on, you do feel a bit of restriction in terms of mobility, just because of the weight of the jacket and how much bulk there is. And when you are wearing this jacket, it does feel like a bulky jacket. It is a significant difference between the lightweight, but the warmth you get from this jacket is significant as well. So on those colder days, this is definitely the sort of jacket you would want to be wearing. And then just in terms of the differences in temperature between the two jackets, I would say you probably wouldn't want to be wearing the regular M1 once you start getting to around 10 degrees Celsius. Anything over that, you'd be very warm very quickly, if not sweating. So it is definitely a winter jacket, so do not buy it if you're expecting to wear it all year round, unless of course where you live you have that sort of temperature for the majority of the year. Whereas the lightweight version of the M1, I would say you could wear a lot more of the year round. If you can't tell from my accent, I live in the UK, just near London, and I would expect to be able to wear this jacket throughout the spring and the autumn, with the summer being the only real time I probably wouldn't want to wear a jacket at all. And I will say the whipcord material is fairly decent in the rain. It's been raining a little bit here recently, and I've worn it without an umbrella, and it's been fine. Obviously it does soak up a little bit of water. It isn't water resistant or waterproof in any way, but it does handle the water better than I expected. The regular M1, however, being oiled, does have a bit of water resistance, and I have worn it in the rain without an umbrella again, and I've not really had any issues. It just beads up like it would with any sort of good quality waterproof jacket. However, the alpaca lining did get a little wet, so obviously try not to wear it in the rain if you can avoid it, but in a light shower it's absolutely fine. Finally, just to show you what the inside of the jacket looks like with the quilted sleeves and the alpaca lining in comparison to the lightweight, which is just the same material all the way through the sleeves, which is just another bit of a key difference between the two jackets. The only other thing to bear in mind if you do get the oiled version of the N1 deck jacket is that it does mark a little bit. These white marks do appear every now and again, but they are pretty far and few between. This is just from turning those sleeves inside out in the previous clip, but they do rub off pretty quickly, so it's not really a big deal, and isn't an issue if you don't get one of the oiled versions, if you just get another regular M1 deck jacket. One final key difference is the dyeing process for these jackets. The lightweight is a sulfur dyed warp and weft, so it will fade over time and through washing, whereas the regular M1 is a reactive dyed warp and weft, so it's a lot more fade resistant, and you shouldn't expect any change in the colour. Because of this dyeing process, however, the lightweight M1 does look almost like a very dark navy as opposed to a black, and as you can see in the side by side, there is a colour difference there. That is probably just down to the dyeing process. I will also leave links in the description to both the jackets on the Ironheart website as well as the Ironheart forum. The forum is a really great place to find out any additional information around any of the Ironheart products, as well as ask any potential questions you may have. It is worth noting that it is like an old school forum where when you create your account it does go through an approval process, so you could potentially be waiting a day or two for your account to be approved before you can post anything. And in some cases, for some reason, even views some of the products. I'm not sure why that is though. So just to wrap up, I hope you found this video somewhat informative if you are trying to decide which of the two jackets you would want to get. I didn't want to make a video that was a review of either of the jackets really, because there's quite a lot of those on YouTube already. This video is just to try and show you some of the main sort of differences between the two jackets, to try and help you make a more informed decision around which one of the jackets you'd want to buy. If you do have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below and I'll try to respond. If not, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day.